Hi, and welcome to Getting Started with Multi-Channel Service, the Wells Fargo Way, a Take 30 with One-to-One Media webcast sponsored by InContact. I'm Tom Hoffman at One-to-One Media, and I'll be the moderator for today's discussion, where we'll be examining the importance of providing customers with consistent multi-channel and cross-channel customer support experiences, along with the recommendations for getting started down this path. Our featured speaker today is George Larrabus, Executive Vice President of Treasury Management Client Delivery at Wells Fargo & Company, a diversified financial services company. A 2013 One-to-One Media Customer Champion, George is responsible for overseeing customer service for the bank's Treasury Management Division. In addition to being recognized as a One-to-One Media Customer Champion, George has also been cited as the 2012 Customer Service Executive of the Year by the Stevie Awards, in part for his leadership in running the group's customer service team during the bank's merger with Wachovia. During this period, George oversaw the creation and execution of a welcome center that was staffed by 135 knowledgeable agents who could assist customers during the merger process. And the group was so successful in exceeding its performance goals during this time that George was greeted with a standing ovation at the company's 2011 National Sales Meeting, which is pretty impressive. George, it's an honor and a privilege to have you with us today.
Thank you for having me.
So before we jump into the discussion with George, I'd like to offer our attendees a few pointers on using the On24 tool. First, please turn off your pop-up blockers to enable a survey that will be provided during the webcast. We'd encourage everyone to participate. To download a copy of today's slides, please click on the green resource widget. If you have a question for one of our presenters, please click on the red Q&A widget and then type in your question and hit submit. If you should encounter any technical issues during the webcast, please click on the help button located near the center of the toolbar. This will be followed by a Q&A with our audience and a post-event survey. Also, feel free to tweet about today's webcast using the hashtag that's shown here. Now for a little bit more background on the key points that we'll be covering in today's discussion. Today, George and I will explore best practices for prioritizing the channels the customers want to use for support. We'll also examine approaches for gaining an understanding of the types of information the customers seek when they do use specific channels in order to deliver optimal experiences to them. Finally, we'll discuss starting points for crafting a successful multi-channel customer service strategy. And this will be followed by the Q&A with our attendees. So, as we all know, customers use a variety of channels in their interactions with companies. According to research from Ovum, 74% of customers use 3 or more channels for support. From a customer's perspective, they don't think about their support interactions as multi-channel or omni-channel. They simply use the channel or channels that they feel are best suited to meet their needs at that moment. So for some, this might be dialing into an IVR or going online to check an account balance, while other customers may prefer to enter into a chat discussion or a mobile video call with an agent when self-service tools don't satisfy their needs. What we do know is that customers expect to receive consistent experiences regardless of the channels that they use. Delivering consistent experiences is more important than ever with customers. We know that customers today have high expectations for receiving great experiences, and they have a low tolerance for poor ones. So because today's customer feels more empowered than ever to share their experiences, good or bad, with their friends and their families and their social connections, this has serious business implications in terms of churn, loyalty, and word-of-mouth buzz. The problem is many companies continue to struggle with providing customers with coherent experiences across each of the channels that they use. And there are a variety of factors that contribute to this. For starters, many companies have a tendency to bolt new channel support onto their customer service strategies instead of developing a more unified approach to customer support across the various channels that are provided. Top performing companies make efforts to obtain a more holistic view of customer behaviors across the different channels that they use, and to gather customer feedback to understand why it is that customers use different channels, and to gain a deeper understanding of the customer journey. They also strive to integrate support systems across different channels, and this can help agents to better understand the channel that a customer was just in and what they were trying to accomplish, so that they can be better prepared to provide them with more relevant and knowledgeable support. So, without question, providing customers with seamless multi-channel customer support isn't easy, but it's not impossible either. To help provide us with an understanding of how Wells Fargo is approaching multi-channel customer service and where they're at in their own journey is George Larrabis. George, thanks again for joining us today.
Thank you.
So before we get started, George, could you tell us a little bit about Wells Fargo and where it's at with its multi-channel customer service strategy?
Absolutely. So treasury management is part of a wholesale banking division providing commercial customers with payment and deposit products that allow our clients to successfully operate their day-to-day business. The treasury management line of business offers products and services to businesses attempting to collect and disperse money. The group that I oversee is the Treasury Management Client Delivery Group, who supports these customers, comprising over 850 team members, either directly dealing with the customers or providing the support for excellent execution. And when we think about the actual multi-channel customer service, I go back to think about us as consumers, and as we go through, we are introduced to a variety of ways to obtain service in our day-to-day lives as a consumer, and it's only a matter of time that these same services are expected from our business customers. And so with that is why we are now looking and embarking on what I call the journey of servicing customers in the channel in which they desire, which means offering more channels than the traditional phone, email, and yes, snail mail. So we have an internet portal that we offer self-service options for customers. We have an email strategy, and now we're looking at the different channels such as chat, live chat, when we start thinking about video. We're also looking at the different types of social media that's out there and how that's going to play a role. Definitely from the consumer side of the house, we have a lot of customers either tweeting or Facebooking or posting on blogs the service that they receive from a personal aspect. We're not seeing a lot of business employers or employees posting on behalf of the service they got for their company. But we need to be ready for that, and so we need to continue to monitor the different offerings. So that's where we're at today in regards to multi-servicing within Treasury Management Client Delivery.
Okay, thanks, George. So can you tell us a little bit about, as Wells Fargo is embarked on its multi-channel customer service initiative, how the company has gone about prioritizing which channels to support first?
Yes, definitely. So the way we go about prioritizing the channels is really about the feedback from our customers. We gain that feedback from from surveys, from advisory boards that we conduct with customers, from focus group meetings that we conduct, and we go through that process for a myriad of reasons. One is when we're developing new products and services, we're developing new processes that would impact the customer or engage with the customer. We present those to the customer base in order to get their feedback and make the appropriate adjustments as necessary, so the customer base can benefit from that feedback that we got directly from the customers. Chat is the initiative that we are embarking on next, because that is the question we're hearing most from our customers, is when we're going to be able to offer that channel. So we're investigating that, but no sooner after that, we truly believe that a video chat will be the next option, because of just the engagement and being able to see the service officer or the agent I'm dealing with and the customer, and that'll just improve that engagement of the customer and the agent.
Okay, thanks, George. So you just touched on this a little bit, but can you also share with us directly how Wells Fargo is using customer feedback to help shape the company's multi-channel service strategy?
Absolutely. Feedback is important to continue to have incremental improvement for our customers. Like I said earlier, chat functionality is being prioritized as the number one priority as we begin hearing more and more from our customers about the chat offering. It's really about making sure that as the agents, as the focus group meetings and the advisory board, it's having the dialogue and about what is next. And so we have created several different options or several different processes within Treasury Management Client Delivery to harness that information. One is really we created the Voice of the Customer, and where we gather information from our team members, from our customers on what the customer is hearing. We bring together the sales, the relationship, and our product managers and have discussions on what we're hearing from our customers so we can help prioritize product enhancement or multi-channel servicing, along with creating a internal website that we're able to start associating themes with customers. So when we're having a conversation internally, we can talk about, here's the initiative that we want to work on, and here are the customers that are interested in that service, in that product, which then ensures that we're focusing always on the customer and making sure that we're delivering incremental improvements for our customer.
That sounds like a smart approach. So George,
Thank you.
Can you also share with us how Wells Fargo is using behavioral data and technologies to help understand how customers are using different channels and what they're attempting to find when they go to these channels?
Yes. There's an abundance of information that helps us understand our customers better. We continue to analyze different customer touch points to understand why a customer chooses one channel over the other. What we're finding is it's all about simplicity of the service engagement with our customers. And they want to be able to execute tasks or inquire about items with minimal effort. We in Treasury Management continue to do more work in this area to ensure that we are simplifying the engagement process for our customers. Behavior analytics and trending will continue to be an important data point for us because we need to continue to understand the touch points of the customer, where they're struggling, where they're stopping that engagement and moving to a different channel so that we can then improve on that experience and make the appropriate changes as necessary. Definitely, in Treasury Management Client Delivery, we are working and we are continuing to invest resources and money in this area because we do have a big opportunity to be extremely proactive with customers. As we move customers into a self-service channel, it's not about reducing cost. It should be about let's take a look at trending the customer and of identifying opportunities of being proactive and help educate the customer in how to improve and simplify that interaction.
That's a good point, because we increasingly see how customers do want to make use of self-service channels, especially certain customer segments that can see where that would be useful.
Exactly.
So, George, can you also talk to us about some different ways that Wells Fargo is approaching cross-channel customer service?
Yeah, as we continue to look at the different cross channels, there's really, I look at it from 4 guiding principles. And the guiding principles are really about effortless engagement for our customers. So how do we make it easy for them to engage with the appropriate channel and the appropriate team member? It's also about graceful transition from channel to channel. So what we want to do is we want to make sure that if we have to move out of a chat environment into a phone, or if it's or information that we have to get back to the customer and provide it to them email, we want to make sure that we're extremely graceful and that we help the customer tie the different channels of communication together, so we don't have to start over, or we're not requesting the customer to give the information that was previously invited. So that gracefulness is really important, and we're taking the time to look at that from the perspective of definitely in the chat environment, because we do believe that we're going to have a subset of those inquiries that come through chat that will have to be moved into an alternate channel, such as email or voice, because the issue is more complex and needs more time to resolve. The third guiding principle is really about consistent messaging from channel to channel, and making sure that we're not adding roadblocks to the customers, and that what we say in one channel, it's the same and consistent messaging in the other channels. And the last one is really about the ability to update customers and their preferred channel, and getting an understanding of the customer preferences and being able to communicate. So just because someone started via one channel may not be the way they want to end that engagement with us. They may want it in writing via email. They may want it in writing via hard copy snail mail. They may want it in text. And so we're looking at that from the perspective of making sure that we're understanding how the customer wants to end that engagement, and making sure that we're communicating in the right channel. So more work to be done on that, but it is on our roadmap to make sure that we're mapping that out and having the right experience for the customer.
Okay, thanks. And George, as part of this, as a follow-up question, have you learned some things along the way in terms of, let's say if a customer started online and they clicked to chat to connect with an agent, have you learned why some customers may drop off or not end up chatting?
So on the chat side of the house, we haven't. So we're just embarking on the chat. What we have known based on our my personal experience and some reading that I have done from other experts in the industry, it's really about just the obstacles of having to start over, they not getting their message, and the agent not engaging with the customer in the right fashion. So there's a lot of, I will say, canned responses that a customer can get via a chat channel, and that is not connecting with the customer, so that experience doesn't feel right to the customer. So when they do get the answer, there's still a question as whether is this the right answer or is this the next in a series of canned messages. So it's really about making sure that we're engaging with the customer in the chat session. We're spending a lot of time thinking about how are we going to train the agents. We definitely want to make sure messaging is consistent, but we also want to give the freedom and the empowerment of the agent to tailor their response to the customer's need and to that interaction. I do have to say, on the flip side of that, in our self-service channel, when we're working with customers, one of the aha moments for us was that we tend to, when a customer comes to a stopping point or an error message, if I may say, then we tend to force them into a voice channel as opposed to offering them online solutions of how to fix the problem themselves. So in that regards, we're limiting our self-service channel, where we need to kind of broaden that thought process and bring to the customer, if self-service is their choice of service and that's how they want to do it, we should be able to continue that dialogue in that self-service channel as opposed to forcing them into a phone conversation.
Well, and it sounds like, even though Wells Fargo is fairly early on with chat and other aspects of multi-channel customer support, you're learning some things along the way and starting to apply those lessons as well.
Absolutely.
So speaking of lessons learned, in addition to what we've been talking about, what are some of the other big lessons that you and your group have learned so far?
Yeah, I would say introducing new service and functionality. The customer needs to understand the value proposition of any new service offering. And I would say that when you offer a self-service channel or you offer another channel in which to get service, it really has to be a love at first sight proposition, because at times you may only get one chance of getting it right with that customer, and if that self-service channel or if that multi-channel offering is not meeting the customer's need, they'll immediately revert back to what they're accustomed to and what they're comfortable with, and may not ever try it again. So it's really about making sure that we spend the time to make sure that value proposition of the offering is immediately recognized by the customer.
Good advice. Thanks. So, George, have there been any surprises along the way?
Yeah, some of the surprises is where we have done the analysis and we have talked with customers and felt like, there's going to be a high adoption rate, and there wasn't. And so build it, they will come concept is gone away at the wayside. It's really about making sure that we didn't think about when we had different offerings, like when we were doing self-service, there's a population. So we have the baby boomers who still want to talk to an agent, still want to have that conversation, and we were thinking that they would adopt this self-service channel more readily. But it really was the millennials that really picked up and said, I can do this on my own. I only want to talk to an agent when necessary. So we have the millennials really picking up the self-service channel. It's the millennials that are asking for the chat sessions because they want to be able to multitask and send a request in, do something else, and wait for that response to come back. So I guess our aha moment was really about making sure that we further understand the demographics of the offering and who's going to use it, and making sure that we're not forcing one demographic into a self-service channel.
Right. Well, it sounds like you and your team have learned quite a bit about customer preferences in terms of what channels they're using and for what purposes.
It's a continuum.
Yeah. So, George, can you also offer our attendees some recommended starting points for embarking on a multi-channel customer service strategy?
Yeah, I would recommend two things. The first one is embrace the multi-channel servicing. We are all consumers, and we have an opportunity to test out new service offering channels in our as being a consumer, and we should take advantage of it. What will happen is either you will like the experience or you won't. But at least when you're testing it and you're the guinea pig, in essence, you'll now have an understanding of what works and have some insight of what you want your multi-channel experience to look like and feel like to your customers. So it's about making sure that taking advantage of, as a consumer, any of the self-service or multi-channel offerings that are available. And the second one is really about socialize your multi-channel customer experience ideas with your team and peers. Let them hear from you on how this can help the customer experience and allow the shift in the thinking to occur. It's another channel, so people need to think of it differently on how they're going to support the customer, and know that no sooner do we take care of the channels that we know today, which is chat, live, or video conferencing, which is Twitter, Facebook, blogging. There's going to be other channels that will surface, and we need to be prepared for that. And the way we can be prepared for that is really about ensuring that we're all active consumers, and we use the different channels and test them out in our day-to-day life.
Excellent. Well, thanks for that advice, George, and thanks for everything that you've shared with us so far about Wells Fargo's multi-channel customer service journey. Now let's jump into the audience Q&A. Before we do, a few reminders. We'd like to encourage everyone to participate in the survey that's posted during our Q&A period. So please take a moment to participate. Again, to do so, you'll need to turn off your pop-up blockers to enable the survey. Now let's start with the Q&A. Again, to ask a question, click the red Q&A icon, type in your question, and then hit send. If we don't get to your question today, we'll email you a response. So, George, this first question is posing the following. How are you able to anticipate and prepare for different channels that customers may want to use in the future?
It's really about staying as an active consumer. In the environment that I am in, I'm supporting business customers, and there's a lag from the time something is offered in the consumer environment to the time that it is requested from the business side of the house. So I have the advantage of being able to, and the team as a whole has the advantage of being able to be active consumers and test out different channels and be aware of what's out there, and then bring it back to the group and start prioritizing and start asking our customers, the advisory groups, the focus group customers, on whether they find that this will be applicable for them if we implemented this technology or this interaction opportunity. So being an active consumer helps my team and myself in making sure that we're ready for the next offering.
Okay, thanks. Can you also share with us, given that you work in and represent a particular division of Wells Fargo, do you share best practices and lessons learned across different parts of the company?
Absolutely. We have a group that which we call One Wells Fargo, and it really talks about the customer experience from many different touch points. And we get together on a regular basis, and we start having the conversation of, here is the business customers, here's what their experience is with their agents and how their interaction is. And then we also compare the Net Promoter Scores and the questions of would they recommend Wells Fargo? Do they have any recommendations of getting better? And based on that, the feedback we get from customers, if it's feedback from our retail side and they were in one of our branches, we call them stores, and didn't have a good experience, we start taking that information, or if they had a great experience, we take all that information, and with these summits that we have across Wells Fargo, all the lines of businesses are represented at these meetings, and we just have open dialogue of how do we improve and how do we make sure that we are moving towards a experience for the customer that is consistent across all lines of business, and which is much different because a business customer need versus a consumer or a retail customer may be different, but at the end of the day, there's still a customer, there's still an engagement, and there's still an opportunity to keep that customer experience consistent.
Right. Okay, good. So, George, in addition to best practices that are shared within Wells Fargo, have you been able to draw upon best practices and lessons learned from other companies in financial services or even from outside the industry?
Definitely from outside the industry. There's a lot of opportunities, and when I think about best practices, I do have to say that one personal experience was when I had a situation with Delta, and again, it gets back to me being an active consumer. And Delta, I was surprised on how quickly they reacted to a Twitter that I sent, and it was just in regards to two ticket agents at the gate. They were talking about how unhappy they were with the company, And I tweeted the gate number. I tweeted what I was hearing, and immediately I would give it about 5 to 7 minutes. The phone rang at that gate. The conversation stopped. So something that Delta Airlines is doing is they have a great listening post that they're bringing in the information, they're acting upon the information, and using it real time. So I was quite impressed with that. Something that bringing that back into Wells Fargo and saying how well are we or how well do we have our listening posts, and how well are we reacting to what is being said real time, or are we waiting a day? And so we're working through that now, and we're bringing it back and trying to improve our internal experience for our customers and making sure that collectively we're listening to everything that's being said about Wells Fargo.
That sounds like a good gauge. Well, thanks again to George Larabish for sharing his terrific insights with us today. And thank you all for joining us. Unfortunately, we've run out of time, so any unanswered questions will be addressed by email. This concludes Getting Started with Multi-Channel Service, the Wells Fargo Way, a Take 30 with One-to-One Media webcast sponsored by InContact. On behalf of the entire team, thanks for attending and have a great day.